Okay, so we're here to talk about what, Dr. Kev?
Something that really blew my mind the first time I heard it. We're going to talk about the word holy and the first instance of the word in the Bible.
Well, the first instance associated with a person.
That's right. My
true.
apologies.
That's all right.
Yes.
Yeah. So holiness in the Bible is often attributed to God, right? But the first place it's attributed to a human being is in the book of Genesis. He's going to love this.
Yes.
The book of Genesis, chapter 38, verse 21.
Come on, preacher.
And he, Judah, inquired of the people of the town, where is the holy woman, the cult prostitute, the one of a name by the road? So the first time.
Yeah. So, wait a minute. So, holy woman, in this instance, referred to the cult prostitute.
Right.
Break that down.
So, in the ancient world, the gods and goddesses, the pagan deities, for some of them, worship involved sex in the temple. Yes. And there were prostitutes who were hired as a part of the temple to help you conduct your worship. Because holy, Brother Kevin, only means, in its basic form, someone who is dedicated to the specific and particular use of the deity.
Oh, okay. So if I was holy to this table and worship to this table meant sitting at it, I would be holy. Worshiping right now and holy.
Yeah. Right.
Wow, that's some form of worship.
Right. So again, now not all pagan deities this was true, but there were a few, and this is indeed what God is talking about with the people called Israel when He was talking about people committing adultery. Essentially, Israel was supposed to be married to God, right? Faithful to God, and so when His people went out to these pagan temples and literally and figuratively prostituted themselves.
Wow.
So that's the reason that the law, the Torah, has a lot to say, or a fair amount to say about sexual boundaries. Because again, in order to worship some of these deities, you had to compromise yourself sexually.
So me and my wife would walk into these particular places or these particular temples, and you're saying that I would visit with the lady, the holy woman, and my wife would worship with the holy man? And we were okay with that?
Yes, because you viewed that as your form of worship, or as a part of it. Now, it wasn't all of it, but it was a part of it. So for instance, we see this happen in the New Testament when Jesus takes the disciples to this place called Caesarea Philippi. Caesarea Philippi is in the north of Israel, and it was most associated with the worship of Pan.
The little goat.
Goat guy.
The goat guy. Yeah. With the pan flute.
But he wasn't cute and furry. Worship as associated with Pan had to do with sexual acts associated with animals. Yes. So when Jesus brings in these disciples, these good Jewish boys, and he says, I'm not that.
So were they looking at it?
They knew what was going on in that city. So that town was particularly dedicated to this worship. And indeed, where Jesus says the gates of hell, there's this big cave in Caesarea Philippi next to the temple of Pan.
So you got hell right next to...
Right. And so the gates of Hades, Jesus, when he walks into the city with these Jewish guys who would have been freaked out anyway because they're not supposed to be contaminated by anything that's unholy, walks in and says,
Gotcha.
What? I mean, standing here doesn't make you unholy.
Right.
I am greater than what's happening over here in the temple of Pan.
Right.
I am greater than the gates of hell, because in Caesarea Philippi, people believed this was the entrance to Hades, where the river Styx would flow. They believe this. And so Jesus says, I'm greater than that. I got this.
Right.
I got the keys to heaven and hell. I've got the keys to death and life.
Wow.
They don't. These pagan deities don't.
Wow.
I'm greater than that. So basically, what your foundation is based on something that is greater than this type of perverted worship. And real holiness is actually following me.
Okay, so you have to be careful to
Right.
what you're holy to.
Right.
Basically
You have to
what you're
definitely
saying.
be careful to what you're holy to or who you're holy to.
Who you're holy to. Wow. My brain is about to explode now. Yeah, so I guess word history and church history and all that really does play a part. It should play a part in your biblical studies.
Well, it has to, because the Bible is written in context of history and in the context of language. And you got to deal with all of that in order to understand it better. So we'll end with this. In the book of Romans, chapter 12, Paul says that our bodies should be living sacrifices.
Right.
So this is a direct, in context now of what we've been talking about, a pushback against this pagan worship that may have involved sexual immorality in the temple.
So in other words, you are the sacrifice.
You're the sacrifice, and your body is holy unto the Lord. Okay, so you don't have to participate in all these things that are compromising to you physically and sexually and morally.
Right.
You can be whole by following me, Jesus says, basically. And Paul is reminding us of this fact that our spiritual service, our worship, is that we are committed body and soul, so to speak, to the Lord.
Wow.
So that means that what we do in the body is as much a part of being holy unto the Lord as going to church.
Well, on that note, I think that concludes Incite Tuesday. I'm Dr. Kevin.
I'm Pastor Kim, and if you have any comments or questions, just put it down below, and we'd love to see you in our Revelation class at 10 o'clock on Sundays and at the KBC, or at 4:30 at Heatherbrook location. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Peace.